All right, welcome back, everyone. So where we're going to go with this thing from here is I want to show a couple of different iterations. So this part, I'm just going to show how we take this very simple object that has this simple cutouts and prepare it for fabrication. So this should be a relatively quick one. But since with our visualization, we created the thickness of the material here, this next step is going to kind of mean that you basically need to create surfaces. So what I want to show here is in order to fabricate, what we're going to do is we're going to unroll the surfaces of the object to find to have a vector that we can laser cut. So the way we would do that is by unrolling the surfaces with that command. So I'll select this just as an example, unroll surface, and then just have these same settings right here, enter. And what you'll see is there's going to be 40 triangles, and all of the sides of the triangles will also appear, which is way too much information because this is actually also including the front and back and sides, these little 3mm thickness of the wood sides here, which we do not need. So we got to prep it a slightly different way. So I'm going to go ahead and go Control Z to undo. Switch back over here to perspective, zoom in on my object here. What I want to do is I want to extract the surfaces on the outside. So we're just thinking of it almost like it's completely flat. There's no thickness to it at all. So I'm going to use the command extract surface, and I'm going to select the outside surfaces. And now you got to be careful. You only want to see, sometimes it'll say, hey, which one do you want? I want this one. You want to make sure that you're edge to edge, only getting those exterior ones. So I'm just clicking around here on all 20 sides of just this exterior surface here. All right, once you see them all nice and yellowly highlighted, we got that one too. Make sure you don't forget any of them. Then we can hit enter. And then I'm going to go ahead and go Control X just to cut it, copy it to the clipboard here. And now you can see that I've got the thicknesses all here. So I'm going to go Control V to paste it back. And then I'm going to go ahead and just join this all back together. So this is just my representation object. And then I'll go Control V again, which will be the pasted just the surfaces here. So hopefully you got all your surfaces in one shot. If you didn't, you might have to fix that later on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to join these together. And now I've got it all as one piece. So next we're going to go ahead and we're going to unroll surfaces here. And same command, same settings, enter, enter. And now we've got 20 of them here. And so these are going to be my guides for my laser cutting. Now my sheet size is 12 by 18. So I'll draw a rectangle, click to start it, 12 quote for 12 inches by 18 quote for 18 inches. Okay. We'll move it down here. And this is just going to be the guide for laying it out on my wood, basically. So my sides are all exactly the same. If yours are not, you're going to have to kind of, arrange them so that they fit on the wood as close as possible. I can rotate them around. I'm just going to kind of create like a slight separation between them, and then I can move them onto my into my space here. And if they don't quite fit, I can maybe move these two up a little bit here so that we're using the diagonal of this, and then like kind of arrange them like that. Cool. So once we get these arranged so that they fit on the rectangle here, I can move it around a little bit just to make sure. We want to have a little bit of room around it as well, because you'll see in a second here what we're going to do is we're going to offset this to make it slightly different here. Okay. So once we get this kind of laid out, go to a top view here. I'm going to type make 2D. I'm going to select my objects here and hit enter using all of these settings here. It's just fine. And then what that's done here is it's created vectors. So if we look at this again in perspective here, you can see the gray part right here. That indicates that these are surfaces. Here, we don't have any surfaces. We're just dealing with the vector lines, which is what we want to be able to laser cut. Okay. So other things to consider. We're going to have to create an angle on each one of these, like a beveled edge when we're cutting the physical wood. so that when they go together, they butt up to one another perfectly the way they do in my perspective version here. And so you can kind of tell that all of these are cut with an angle here. And we'll measure that angle in a second here. But that angle needs to be cut on the bandsaw afterwards. So we'll laser cut out these sections. The center is fine because that can be straight. I don't mind that being straight at all. But we do need to have a little bit of extra on the cut here so that we can bring it into the bandsaw and cut the proper angle. So I'm going to go to a top view here, and then I'm going to offset this object, and I'm going to do about 2 millimeters. So I'm going to switch this from 20 to 2, enter, and I'm going to offset it that way. Cool. So you can see there. Let me do that again, but this time I'm going to do it with the whole triangle. So, and when we make 2D here, that actually does group these together. So I'm going to go ungroup, enter, click on this, enter. And now we have just these lines. So I'm going to go ahead and ungroup these 3. So enter brings up the same command. And these are all ungrouped now. And then I'm going to select the exterior lines of all of the triangles here and join them back together again so that when I offset, it will do it all at once. So select all of those, type join, enter. Okay. And then I'm going to offset this one here, 2 millimeters, this one here. And if for some reason you don't have, it's not offsetting the way mine is with your corner sharp right there, that's what you would need to make sure that's on. Okay. All right. So that gives me my offset now. So that's what we're actually going to cut. This area right here is what we're going to then have our finished dimension to. So we'll cut that on the bandsaw. So I want to create a secondary color represented for these guidelines that I've got here. So selecting those interior lines, I'm going to go to properties here. No, properties, sorry, wrong one. Properties, and then line type here, I'm going to change this to hidden. And so that's going to give me these dashed lines. Next, I also want to change the color of these lines. So right now the color is set to custom here. I'm going to scroll down, look for this blue here. Not dark blue, just regular blue. Yeah, it should be 255, 0, 0. No, it's not RBG, is it? There we go. RGB sliders. So 255 blue and 0, 0. Okay, cool. So that gives us our blue line, and we can set the laser cutter to just etch those. So it'll use less power, and it'll basically just create dashed lines in the wood that we can use to guide our cut as we're cutting into the wood. Okay, so these are what we're going to be exporting for our wood. Now I've got 7 pieces of wood. I've got actually 6 times 4 is 20. 24, I mean, yeah, so 24. I've got roughly a few extras I can make as well in case I screw something up, which is, something nice to have as well because I've got 7 pieces of this wood. Okay, so next what we want to do is we go to File, Print, and this is what we're going to be doing for each one of these sheets of wood. Since mine are exactly the same, all sides are the same, I don't have to do as much work here. I only have to make one PDF, but you do need to make one PDF separate file for each different design. So if you have different designs on each side, you'll have to do it for each one of them. So now I've got Rhino PDF. I'm going to set my page size to 18 by 12. And then I'm going to do a window here. And I'm going to go from about right here to right about there. No, I don't want to change the scale. I still want to use 1:1 scale. So 1:1 scale is the same. I can see it's a little bit off on that corner there. So I might have to do the window position again. So I'll go set here. And I can kind of, let's go right to here. No. and I can move it. Perfect. There we go. Enter. All right, 1-to-1, we can see I'm getting kind of close to the edge up there. That does make me nervous, so I will adjust these. I don't want to get too close to the edge. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult. I've got more real estate. I can kind of move these up a little bit more here. And then I can move these over a little bit too. All right, let's try the window again. All right, and we always want to make sure 1-to-1 scale is what we're using. A little bit of room around the edges there. Now, this is black and white. I'm going to change it to display color here. And so now the blue lines show up. And then print, title this, your last name, page 1, okay? And this is what you're going to use to laser cut. So just simply bring this to a laser cutter and they can make that magic happen. So yeah, that's basically it for turning your 3D model into something prepped for laser cutting. Cool. So the next step is in the next video, I'll talk a little bit about how to create more intricate designs on each face of your object here. But that will do it for this one. Relatively simple and straightforward. You might have to watch it a couple of times to see exactly what I did, but all of the information is there. And what you're hoping to get at the end is a PDF with the same page size as your wood. So mine is a 12 by 18. Yours might actually be a slightly different size. Okay, this is what we're looking for. It's ready to go into the laser cutter. So hopefully you found this useful. I'll see you on the next one.